Prince Henry takes a knife and cuts both his and Princess Alicent's hands, mixing their blood together. He tells Alicent that it's an ancient ritual of their ancestors. Then, shockingly, he throws Princess Alicent into a deep cave. Alicent is completely confused and doesn't understand why he did this. She screams loudly and tries to escape the cave, but she can't get out. Hearing her screams, a dragon that lives in the cave wakes up. Alicent then sees many insects and bugs burning and fleeing the cave. That's when a terrifying dragon appears and tries to burn her with its fire. Alicent runs to save her life and hides in a corner of the cave, but one of her legs gets badly burned. She's terrified and doesn't know what's going on. Suddenly, she hears the dragon's voice. The dragon tells her that he can smell royal blood in her, which means she can't escape from him. But why did Prince Henry throw her into this cave? What's the mystery of this dragon? Will Alicent be able to survive and escape the cave? Let's find out. The story begins years earlier with the king of the kingdom of Rhea chasing a dragon with his soldiers. The dragon was a threat to his people, so the king was on a mission to kill it. When the king and his men reach the dragon's cave, the dragon appears and burns some soldiers with its fire. Then it kills the remaining soldiers one by one. Seeing this, the king becomes terrified and kneels before the dragon, begging for his life. The scene then shifts centuries later. We see Princess Alicent of a small kingdom, chopping wood in the forest with her younger sister Floria. From their conversation, we learn that their kingdom has run out of treasure, and the people are starving. Winter is coming, so they need to make arrangements for food. While cutting wood, Alicent sees a royal carriage heading toward their palace. She and Floria quickly return to the palace. Many citizens are leaving the kingdom due to poverty and hunger. Alicent hands over her sack of wood to a shopkeeper and asks him to distribute it among the people. Then she goes to see her father, King Hector. There, Alicent sees a woman talking to her father and stepmother. This woman had arrived in the royal carriage. She is pleased to meet Alicent and praises her beauty. Then she gives a letter to King Hector saying she awaits his decision and leaves. Hector opens the letter and becomes very happy. Alicent asks him what it says. He tells her that Prince Henry of the Rhea kingdom wants to marry her. Alicent is shocked. Hector also informs her that in return for the marriage, the Rhea kingdom will give them money to improve their kingdom's condition. Alicent says one should marry for love, but Hector explains that if she becomes the Princess of Rhea, she'll be able to travel the world like her mother once did. We learn that Alicent's biological mother passed away, and now Hector lives with his second wife, Helen, who treats Alicent and Floria like her own daughters. For the sake of her kingdom, Alicent agrees to the marriage, and the next day, they all leave for the Rhea kingdom. After a few hours of travel, they reach Rhea, where they see many massive dragon statues. The palace is enormous and beautiful, and everyone is impressed. That night, while on the balcony, Alicent sees a girl on the balcony opposite hers. The girl soon disappears into her room. Unable to sleep, Alicent again looks out and sees fire burning on a nearby mountain. The next day, Alicent's family meets Queen Isabel, King Rick, and Prince Henry. Queen Isabel talks to Alicent and is impressed by her intelligence and maturity. Later, the Queen sends Henry and Alicent out to talk privately. Alicent tells Henry that she's marrying him for the sake of her kingdom, which will receive financial support. Since she starts liking Henry, she also says she's happy with the marriage. Henry takes her on a tour of his kingdom. Alicent points toward the mountain where she saw fire, and Henry explains it was part of an ancient pre-wedding ritual, which will also happen after their marriage. Meanwhile, Queen Isabel makes a deal with Hector regarding the marriage, but when Hector comes out, he appears disturbed. Helen questions him, but he refuses to tell her anything. Sensing something is wrong, Helen confronts Queen Isabel, who insults her background and mocks her father's poverty. Isabel also tells Helen to leave the palace after the wedding. Helen realizes something is wrong with the royal family. That night, she goes to Alicent and Floria and tells Alicent not to marry into this strange family. She also warns Alicent about the secret agreement between Hector and Isabel. Helen tells Alicent that her father, King Hector, has seemed very upset ever since the agreement, and he hasn't shared anything with her. To this, Alicent replies that Helen might be overthinking the matter. Just then, Hector arrives and asks Helen to get some rest, taking her away from there. The next day, Henry and Alicent get married, and she is officially made the Princess of the Rhea Kingdom. After the wedding, Alicent meets her family one last time as they are about to return to their own kingdom. Henry and Alicent then head to a mountain to complete a royal ritual. There, inside a cave on the mountain, the entire royal family is waiting, wearing strange masks. Queen Isabel is also present, and she welcomes the couple. She tells Alicent that they must perform this ritual to protect their kingdom. Isabel then explains that long ago, one of their ancestors discovered that a monster lived in the cave and used to devour the people of their kingdom. In an attempt to defeat the monster, their ancestor, the king, came to the cave with his army. However, the monster killed all of the king's soldiers, terrifying the king. To save his own life, the king made a deal with the monster. As part of the deal, the monster had demanded the king's 3 daughters. The king agreed, and from that moment, the monster stopped killing the people of the Rhea Kingdom. Since then, whenever a prince gets married, he must perform this ritual with his wife. Now, Queen Isabel begins the ritual by giving Alicent a gold coin and instructing her to throw it into the cave. She then cuts the palms of both Alicent and Henry and joins their hands together. With this, the ritual is completed. Henry lifts Alicent in his arms and starts to leave, but suddenly he apologizes to her and throws her into the cave. Alicent falls into the cave and faints. When she regains consciousness, she cries out for help and tries to climb out, but fails and falls back down. Looking around, she sees a lot of jewelry and clothes, belongings of the princesses who were thrown into the cave before her. This makes her realize that she has been sacrificed by the queen. She then notices a fire burning inside the cave and walks toward it. There, she sees many Cham-Cham creatures that had been burned to death. Seeing so many of them dead makes Alicent very sad. Before she can fully understand what's happening, a dragon appears, frightening Alicent, who hides behind a rock. Hearing its voice, Alicent realizes that the dragon is female. It is the same dragon that appeared at the beginning of the movie. Scared, Alicent tells the dragon her name. The dragon tells her that her bloodline owes a debt to the dragon and that she was sent here so the dragon can kill her. The dragon adds that she can smell the royal blood on Alicent. Hearing this, Alicent looks at her wounded hand, which still has Henry's royal blood. Panicked, Alicent runs away. The dragon breathes fire at her, but Alicent narrowly escapes by entering a narrow cave. Inside, she finds the corpse of a girl, the same girl she once saw from the palace balcony. Alicent now understands that Henry had married this girl before her, and she too was sacrificed. The dragon follows Alicent into the cave and attacks again, so Alicent keeps running. During the escape, her leg is badly burned. She tears a piece of cloth from her dress to wrap the wound and places a burning coal into her locket to use as a light source. She begins to search for an exit. She finds a narrow path, but falls into a deep pit, getting seriously injured. Still, she gathers the courage to stand. She sees a blue light and a path ahead, but a chasm lies between her and the path. She attempts to leap across but fails. As she falls, she remembers the knife hidden in her dress, quickly grabs it, stabs it into a rock, and uses it to climb up. On the other side, she sees glowing insects emitting blue light. She collects them in a cloth and makes a lamp out of them, continuing her search for an exit. Along the way, she finds a stream of melting ice and drinks water. But just then, The dragon appears and melts the ice with fire, trying to reach her. Allison runs again and hides in a narrow cave that the dragon cannot enter. The dragon tells her that no girl has ever escaped from her, and that she has killed every one of them. Allison continues and finds a wall covered with names of many girls. There's a message on the wall: "You are safe from the dragon here." She realizes that the queen has been sacrificing girls for generations. Due to pain, Allison falls asleep and dreams of the girls whose names were on the wall. She wakes up in fear and notices the glowing insects are on her wound. She tries to brush them off, but sees that her injury is now healed. She uses the insects to heal her hand as well and stores them again in the cloth. Looking around, she finds a map on the wall, drawn by one of the sacrificed girls. She studies it carefully and follows the marked path. A little ahead, she sees sunlight. To reach it, she must climb through a tunnel made of sharp crystals. On the way, she finds the crown of Princess Victoria and uses it to help herself climb. Suddenly, the dragon appears again and watches her from below. One of the crystals breaks, and Allison nearly falls, but she regains her balance and climbs up. She finds the exit but sees that it's on a very high cliff. Falling from there would mean death. She spots 4 soldiers approaching the mountain and shouts for help, but they can't hear her due to the height. Just then, the dragon appears outside the mountain and attacks. Allison steps back, and in anger, the dragon tells her that Rhea Kingdom made a deal to offer 3 princesses from each generation, and Allison is the second one of her generation. The dragon breathes fire, but suddenly someone calls Allison's name from inside the cave. Hearing this, the dragon stops and retreats. Allison's father and 3 of his men have entered the cave to rescue her. Meanwhile, Allison returns to the cave and finds a room filled with gold and bones of the dragon's 3 children. She realizes that centuries ago, when the king entered the cave, he had killed the dragon's babies. In rage, the dragon killed all of the king's soldiers. When the king begged for his life, the dragon made a deal with him. She would spare him if he agreed to sacrifice 3 princesses from every generation of his bloodline. But the Rhea Kingdom never offered their own princesses. Instead, they married off princes to girls from poor kingdoms, cut their hands, smeared them with royal blood, and threw them into the cave. Because the dragon could smell royal blood from those girls, it mistook them for real princesses and killed them. Here, Hector and his soldiers call out to Allison. When the dragon arrives, it kills 2 of Hector's soldiers. Then the dragon comes before Hector and asks why he has come. Hector says, "I want my daughter, and I will not leave without her." Saying this, Hector points his sword at the dragon. Allison, hiding behind a rock, is watching everything. The dragon grabs Hector and says that his daughter is hiding nearby because it can smell her blood. The dragon tells Hector to call Allison out, but he refuses. Instead, he cries and tells Allison not to come forward. He also apologizes to her, saying that because of a deal he made, the queen arranged her marriage to Henry and sent her to be sacrificed. Later, he regretted his actions and came to the cave to save her. After this, the dragon kills Hector, leaving Allison devastated and crying. Hearing her voice, the dragon approaches her. Meanwhile, the remaining soldier tries to escape, so the dragon chases him, giving Allison the chance to reach her dying father. Before dying, Hector tells Allison that Helen and Floria are waiting for her on the ship, and she must leave the cave no matter what. Then Hector dies, leaving Allison heartbroken. She notices the rope her father used and climbs up. Just then, the dragon kills the soldier and returns, spotting Allison. It breathes fire to kill her, but she dodges and escapes the cave. She takes her father's horse and rides away. However, the dragon follows her, so Allison hides under a rock. The dragon sees the running horse and burns it with fire. When it can't find Allison, it angrily starts burning a mountain. Queen Isabel sees the mountain burning and realizes that Alicent has escaped. To calm the dragon's rage, she decides to offer Alicent's sister Floria instead. The Queen, along with her soldiers, captures Floria from the ship and stabs Helen, injuring her. Then she leaves with Floria. The next day, Alicent emerges from the rocks and finds Helen in a critical condition. Helen tells her that Queen Isabel plans to offer Floria to the dragon. Alicent rushes to save her sister. In the cave, the queen cuts Floria's palm to sacrifice her, but Henry refuses to go along. The queen then mixes her own blood into Floria's wound and throws her into the cave. The dragon picks up Floria and waits for Alicent, convinced she'll come. Soon Alicent arrives at the cave and uses fallen weapons to set up a trap. She then approaches her father's dead body, picks up his sword, and confronts the dragon. The dragon, mourning her dead children, says, "They took your lives, and now I'll end their bloodline." At that moment, Alicent's trap makes a noise, distracting the dragon. Alicent uses this chance to reach Floria and tries to escape, but the dragon returns and spots her. Alicent tells the dragon, "We've both been lied to. I am not a princess of the Rhea Kingdom, and these people are not my ancestors." But the dragon doesn't listen and starts breathing fire. Alicent stabs the dragon in the mouth and jumps into the water, badly burning her hand. The dragon grabs her and stabs her with its claw, but Alicent manages to stab the dragon's eye with her dagger. Enraged, the dragon roars. Alicent then picks up her father's sword and drives it into the dragon's chest. She notices a rock that reflects wind. That gives her an idea. She stands by the rock, and when the dragon breathes fire, she moves aside. The fire hits the rock and bounces back, burning the dragon. Alicent then shows the dragon the wound on her hand and explains that all the girls had similar wounds. The queen mixed royal blood into the wounds of girls from other kingdoms, so the dragon would think they were royal. She adds that though the dragon's children were killed, it also killed many innocent girls. The dragon tells her to finish it off, but Alicent refuses. Instead, she releases the blue insects onto the dragon, which heal all its wounds, fully restoring it. Later, Alicent arrives at the palace where Henry is marrying his third princess. She tells the new bride to run for her life and warns everyone in the palace to flee if they want to live. Queen Isabel angrily says, "Just because you escaped that monster doesn't mean we fear you." Before Alicent can say more, the dragon arrives and burns the entire royal family and the palace to ashes. Sometime later, Alicent, Helen, and Floria are seen returning to their kingdom. For the first time, Alicent accepts Helen as her mother, making her very happy. Then they all set sail for home, and the dragon accompanies them. And with that, this amazing movie comes to an end. Please subscribe to your own Majora Explainer English channel.